Tips for ensuring even cooking of a 375 degrees Fahrenheit meatloaf.
Hey there! Welcome to today's video where we'll be discussing some helpful tips to ensure even cooking of your delicious meatloaf when using a temperature of 375 degrees Fahrenheit. Cooking meatloaf can be a delightful experience, but achieving even cooking throughout can sometimes be a challenge. Don't worry though, because we've got you covered with some fantastic tips that will help you achieve a perfectly cooked meatloaf every time. So, let's get started.
Properly mix and shape the meatloaf.
The first step in achieving even cooking for your 375 degrees Fahrenheit meatloaf is to properly mix and shape the meat mixture. Here are some key points to keep in mind. 1. Thoroughly combine the ingredients. Ensure that all the ingredients, including ground meat, breadcrumbs, eggs, and seasonings, are well mixed. This will help distribute the flavors evenly and promote consistent cooking. 2. Avoid overmixing. While it's important to combine the ingredients thoroughly, overmixing can result in a dense and tough meatloaf. Mix until just combined to maintain a tender texture. 3. Shape the meatloaf uniformly. When shaping the meatloaf, try to create a loaf of consistent thickness. This will help ensure that the meat cooks evenly throughout.
Consider the pan and cooking method.
The choice of pan and cooking method can also influence the even cooking of your meatloaf. Let's take a look at some considerations. 1. Choose the right pan. Select a pan that allows for even heat distribution. A loaf pan or a rimmed baking sheet can work well for meatloaf. Avoid using a pan that is too large, as this can cause the meatloaf to spread out too thinly and cook unevenly. 2. Line the pan. To prevent the meatloaf from sticking to the pan and to make cleanup easier, consider lining the pan with parchment paper or aluminum foil. 3. Elevate the meatloaf. Placing the meatloaf on a wire rack inside the pan can help promote air circulation and even cooking. This prevents the bottom from becoming soggy while allowing heat to reach all sides of the meatloaf. 4. Consider alternative cooking methods. If you're concerned about even cooking, you might consider using a meat thermometer or opting for individual meatloaf muffin cups. These methods can help monitor the internal temperature of the meatloaf more accurately and promote even cooking.
Monitor internal temperature and resting period.
Monitoring the internal temperature of the meatloaf and allowing it to rest are crucial steps for achieving even cooking. Let's dive into the details. 1. Use a meat thermometer. To ensure your meatloaf reaches the desired level of doneness, use a meat thermometer to check the internal temperature. For a safe and delicious meatloaf, the internal temperature should reach 160 degrees Fahrenheit, 71 degrees Celsius. 2. Check the temperature in multiple spots. To ensure accuracy, check the temperature at multiple spots in the meatloaf, especially in the center, where it takes the longest to cook. This will help you determine if the meatloaf is evenly cooked. 3. Let it rest. After removing the meatloaf from the oven, allow it to rest for about 10 to 15 minutes before slicing. This resting period allows the juices to redistribute, resulting in a more evenly cooked and flavorful meatloaf. Congratulations! You now have some fantastic tips to ensure even cooking of your 375 degrees Fahrenheit meatloaf. Remember to mix and shape the meatloaf properly. Consider the pan.